Yeah, guys, Steeple here. Today we're going to be looking at a Caernarvon replay on Prokhorovka. It's an encounter battle. You can see the enemy team actually has a fairly substantial advantage just in looking at the tiers. I think they had like 4 or 5 extra tier 8s than we did. Karn being a bit of a mobile heavy, I'm going to play it kind of like a medium in this case. Those of you that watched a lot of my replays probably seen me play this F5-6 position, or the mirror position, playing from the north. The key to this map, in my opinion, is the kind of symbiotic relationship from this particular area in the hill. If you're able to spot targets from here, then the people on the hill can shoot into the field, and vice versa. You can shoot from here onto the people trying to get up on the hill from here. And I do have a fairly decent vision setup on this particular crew. So I'm able to kind of assist with my entire team spotting targets throughout the field. I do want to be very careful playing here if there's like multiple RD. Being one RD, I'm kind of managing how I play it. But artillery can, if they're doing what they should be doing, they should be tearing up people playing this position. But a lot of artillery players prefer to shoot like the easiest target for them, which typically is like a really slow Japanese heavy or something like that. But good artillery players will understand the important parts of the map and understand how to turn the tide. So keep that in mind. You know, I don't have to be too worried about protecting the cap in this situation. If they got 3 on there, might become a bit of a priority, but if they're just going to passively put 1 or 2 guys on it at a time, it's very easy to reset from here in the hill, and you can get crossing shots into that area. So you can see here, we're not spotted currently. If you play kind of where I'm at, there's like a ridge protecting your rear. Now you can see my team's completely pushed up the 1-2 line, which has kind of created the dynamic where this becomes it's more of an east-west setup now instead of a north-south, which is how the map starts. But you can see we kind of confined into a quarter of the map, which is a major problem for them long term. Even though they're winning in tank count currently, map control, they're definitely dominating that aspect. Now the guys that are pushing north, looks like they're probably going to die just because they're being a little too aggressive. But it's something to keep in mind. You do want to be watching the map at all times, and you know, like right here, I'm not being lit very often, and I'm not under threat of fire, so there's really no excuse not to be managing the game from watching the map perspective. So you can see we're getting a lot of assist damage through spotting and direct damage. Looks like we're up to about 3K so far. And again, if you're able to put side shots on these guys on the hill, that'll keep your guys on your side of the hill safe, which will allow them to kind of spot the field for you. And you know, these two positions work very well together. The key if you're on that hill is you want to be, I mean, they're being too aggressive by pushing up here because they should recognize that I'm shooting them in the side. And if they fall back a little bit, there are ridges over there that would protect them from people shooting them from this position. I see I'm getting targeted a little bit here. I'm not massively concerned about it. I've been conserving my hit points pretty well. So we're kind of in a position to exert a little bit more aggressively than we would be had we taken some damage. Like for instance, if you like bottom tier or if you're down in health, you don't want to push up as aggressively here. But just given the situation, I'm able to kind of keep pushing forward, take shots, continue to spot targets, you know, so At this point in the game, we're in pretty good shape. You know, just got to be sure not to clean up. I mean, it's the score in tanks is still close, but again, you know, we've kind of cornered them into the situation we had them in earlier, where they were kind of confined to a quarter of the map. And now the hill's clear. Those guys, I don't know, they're a little slow, recognizing they could probably push forward, and looks like they're pushing forward now, but they can shoot off of the hill. You know, we got a couple guys in the position I'm at that can shoot over here, and then the guy in like the center north position. So if you look at it from that perspective, you got 3-4 firing lanes plus artillery, and they're really, you know, kind of pinched in at this point. So
Target locked. No good. It bounced. Enemies got us in their sights. We just dinged.
well, like I said earlier, I mean, if you see me play a few games on this map, this is generally where I like to play out of. If I'm in more of a slower heavy, I'll probably play on hill directly. And TDs I don't play as often, but I'd probably play the 1-2 line, or
Ready to fire on target.
depending on how mobile it is, I might attempt to play a similar play that I had in this particular game.
Got him in our sights.
A lot of people would consider Prokhorovka their favorite map. I'd probably put it in that category too. In my opinion, the open maps are far superior to the corridor maps, and this one just happens to be a really good example of an open map. So
Chalk up another.
all in all, pretty good game. Looks like we had about 68, give or take. So if you enjoyed the replay, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, you can consider subscribing. If you have any comments on the Cairn or any comments in general, please leave them below. And we'll hope to see you guys all later. Alright, peace.